Welcome back, guys. Now we are continuing, okay, with our HTML form. Okay, so in the previous video we were able to create something like this. Let's do some house cleanup before we continue. I don't think we need this one. It makes it look weird. Let me comment it out. It has been commented, so yes, I don't need it. And the email section, before I get to the email here, so this closing div, let me use a line break. At least 2 is okay. Let me save it and refresh. I don't need a line break here. Rather, I think I will need it. I will need it here. At the end of this one, this input field. Now let me save it and refresh. Okay, like I see, I'm having some space in here. Now between the email and the password, let me get some break. Sorry, email and password. Okay, here, refresh. Okay, I want it to be lined up something like this. Okay. All right, so before anything else, let's check the project. Now it's like this, okay? But the gender, let me add a label to the gender, okay? So the label, I call it gender, so that I'll get something like this. Let me refresh. Save before you refresh. Okay, so I have a gender here that I can use to select, okay? Pointing to the gender, okay, male or female. And even the gender, male or female. In some cases, you might get something like other, okay? If the person doesn't want to specify, I'm gonna call this one choice 3. Save it and let's refresh and see. Okay, so either you choose from male, female, or the other. Now let's go ahead and create date of birth, okay? And I would like it to come before the gender, okay? So this is the end of email and password. Okay, so what I will do is from here I will need another div tag. Okay, open the div. So inside that div tag, as usual, I will need a label. In the label, the label is for what? The 4 attributes which I'll say is for months. Then I will call here month. Okay. Then after the label, I will need a select tag, and inside the select tag, I will need something like a name. Then the name to, I will say month. From here, I'll need an option. I'll need an option with a value. The value, I'll make it 0, and I will explain later, okay? And I will use the selected as disabled, okay? Disable. Now I'll give it a name as month. Let me create the months, okay? To create the months, you need an option, because that is what we want to use. Okay, we want to use the option rather. Like we can make it an input where the person can just type maybe 10 February, whatever year. But in this form, we are adding more dynamics, okay? So with the option, the person can select the month by just clicking in the box and making the selection. That's what we are doing. Okay, so the option, we give it a value, okay? So the value, we say what? The value, we will say January, okay? Then we give it a name as January. Okay. Before then, let me save it and see something. Let me refresh and see if I have something at all. Okay, so you can see I have months here, and I have a scroll down here. That's a checkbox that I can use to select, and it is only January that I have created here. That's why I'm seeing only January. All right, so let's go ahead and create the rest of the months. And to do that, we have 12 months, so we have January, so we have to duplicate it 11 times. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll grab the code, then I have to duplicate it 11 times, remember. Now after you duplicate the code, what you can do here is Subline text can help you to make this achievement very easy for you. So you hold on your command key on Mac or control on Windows. Okay, so all what you have to do is just hold on your control or your command on Mac, click on where you want to change the text. So I click here January, then I hold on command, then I come to this place, then I click here again. So with this, now I here, then here, now I can clean it simultaneously and change the name as well. So we are in what? February. Okay, simple as that. So you do it to the rest of the months. Okay, so now that we have put in the right content, which is the month, okay, let's save it and head back to our browser and refresh. Now let's check the our bottom here. You can see that we have the month being aligned here. Okay, January to December. Okay, looking awesome. Now we are not done yet. Let's go ahead and input the rest of the content. Now let's go ahead and create the section for the days. So I'll grab the code. Okay, so I'll grab the code like this, then I'll copy. So I'll come to a place like this, I'll paste it here. Now I'm changing the month to day. Now I'll change this one to label for day. Now what else? This one too, I'm changing it day and disable. Now I'm going to change the values here. Okay, so we are changing this. Okay, so this value, I'll make it 01. Okay, then the one that's for the February also will be hot 02. Awesome. So we want it what? How many? 31 times. Okay, so it's a great work. Okay, so we have to be doing more copying and pasting. Okay, so now that we have it up to 12, we know what to do next. We still have to copy the code and paste it and change it from 13 going. Okay, all right, so I am done with my part. Okay, you can see the days from 1 to 31. Okay, now let me refresh and show you. So you can see save. I didn't save, then refresh. Okay, now you can see the day is here. Okay, so month, day, want to click on it. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you can select from any of these. All right, it's awesome. When you click on it, you can see. All right, now let's go ahead and create the year. Okay, that one will be a little complex, but let's go ahead and do that. Now let's go ahead and work with the year. Okay, so to work with the year, I will still need the same label. I'll grab the whole thing again like this. Okay, I'll copy, then I'll paste it here. Okay, so now for the sake of the tutorial, I have to cut some of the years out. Okay, other than that, you'll be consuming a lot of time. So let's say let me click here, then I think to 2016. Let me cut them out. So I'll get something like this, but before then, let me change this the labels. Let me change it to year, then here also will be a year. Okay, year. Which year are we starting from? So we can start from, if you want to start from, let's say 90s, which means if you are going to start from 1990s, which means you are going to need a lot of this. So maybe 2030, you are going to need a lot of this, but for the sake of the tutorial, let's start from something which is very close. You can start from 2020 and yeah, and it's good, but let me see where we can start from. Say I think 20, 2010 will be okay. All right, so we do it to the rest of the inputs, the values. All right, so now I've been able to input my input fields here. Okay, now please do same. Okay, don't do it less than 2025. Okay, don't just go and do maybe 2022 to 2025. No, do same. Do from 2010 to 2025. Okay, when you are engaged in more practicality, that is where you move on to perfection. So let's do same. All right, so now let's save and let's see how it turns in the browser. Let's refresh. Okay, so we have our year there. So let's say month, then we select our month, then we select our day, say 10th, then we select our year. Okay, so 2020. All right, then you select your gender. Okay, all right, you might be wondering, so only one form that I have to fill, the date of birth input would give me this kind of stress, then it means coding is going to be very, very difficult. No, I promise you to eradicate all the nuisance that make coding boring, and this is one of them. Okay, there's a simplest way of doing all this long processing that we want, like writing a lot of lines of code for only our months, our dates, and our year. That is the calendar section. There's a simplest way how to do that, but I wanted to show you the difficult side so that when you see the simplest way, you know how some new stance also can make coding boring, as I said. Okay, now let's look at the simplest way out. Let me input a comment here. Let me call it the easiest option. It's still form section, so it's okay. So but we are looking at the easiest option. Okay, so to do that, to get to the easiest option, okay, now let me use something like h2. Then I would say something like, so choose your date of birth from the calendar. Choose your date of birth is okay. Now choose your date of birth. Let me use a div to wrap my code. Now I would need a label. Okay, I will need a label. Imagine, look at the lines of code that you are going to write in order to get this work done. So my label for date, okay, then I will say here is a date of birth. All right, then I will need another line of code that calls what input. Then the input, I'll call it date. Then the name, I'll call it what date. Very good. Anyway, with these two lines of code, let's save it. Go head back to our browser and refresh. It is working though, but before we do anything else, let me use a line break to separate. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, so if possible, let's get out of this container. Okay, let's get out of here. So we are not doing anything extra. I'm only cutting the code from the section, from the select container. Okay, I'm getting out of this, then I'll place it here. Okay, a place like this. Now I think if I implement my line break, I'll have a perfect work. So BL and BL. Save it, head to your browser and refresh. Okay, so it's something like this that I was expecting. So you can see H2 is too much. Let me use H4. This is H2. Okay, so let's refresh. Okay, H4 is okay. Now we can see date of birth. Now we can select our date of birth from here. Okay, at the end of this div, let me give it a line break again here to separate the gender from the date of birth. Okay, okay, something like this is cool. Now you can see it is only these two lines of code. Okay, the label and the inputs, and let's see what it's giving us. You can click on the calendar and you can select your date of birth right from here. You can select the year from here. can select your year from here, okay, and the days and the months. Then you can also select the year, go to the year, then you select. So you can see you can go to the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. With only 2 lines of code, it is giving us all this. If you've not been introduced to the easiest way out of programming, you'll see that you'll not even get anywhere coding become something difficult for you to practice. Okay, and that is the last thing that I would like to happen for my students, the beginners, to be getting confused. All right, so that is that. Now, after we selected everything, maybe I think we can add some button, maybe some button to submit our choice or to submit our form, something like that will do. So let's go ahead and see how that one also works. Now, before we bring in our button, okay, our submit button, let's have something like agreement to terms and conditions. Okay, so let's use a container. Then I will need a label again. So a label for what? Agree. Then our message. So I agree to all terms and condition. Okay, so something like this is cool. Then we will need our inputs. Okay, so the input will be what? Submit. Submit. Then the input name will be what? Agreed. Very good. So the input type, okay, the input type I think is checkbox. Okay, box that we will just click into check, and this is agreed. Okay, then let's give it a button for this, for the submission. Okay, so we need a button, so a button for the submission. So the type will be submit, that is for the button. Then we say the button is giving a message that what we should submit, and I think we are good to go. Let's save it and check it in a browser. Refresh. Okay, something like this. Let's give it a line break. I think the line break here, the 2 is too much. Let me take 1 out. Then let's give it a line break here. The BL tag. Save it, refresh. Okay, something like that. So I agree to all terms and conditions. Then you check the box. Then you submit your form. Awesome. Now you know we've not embedded it in a database. Okay, we've not added any database inputs, so we are not getting a response. Like when if you progress, maybe we get to a point like that it will give us a pop-up that says that submitted successfully, or maybe a message out when you submit, when you filled everything and submitted, when it's successful. Okay, so congratulations, you were able to build your forms, okay, or create your forms. You see the easiest way and the difficult side of doing it. All right, so let's end here, come back on the next tutorial and learn more.